Hi, everyone. I'm Rob May. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Neurometric.
Hi, I'm Anna Kirk. I'm sales lead at Thread AI.
And this is the AI and NYC show where we talk about all things happening in New York City, which is the applied AI capital of the world. So our guest today is Ben Colman from RealityDefender. Ben, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
And before we go into your background and everything else, I want to start with a question. You guys solve the deepfake problem. So for our listeners, what is a deepfake? And then how do I make one of Anna saying something funny that she would never say in real life?
Oh, yeah. It's a good example versus a lot of more dangerous examples.
Yeah, we're going to stay away from those.
So RealityDefender, we build models to detect AI-generated audio, video, images, and text, focusing on detecting human-based impersonations. Everything from AI-generated calls to banks, to take over an account, to commit wire fraud, to identity fraud, kind of an image you upload, it's you, but it's actually not you, to things a lot more dangerous and scary like AI-generated non-consensual pornography or AI-generated child sexual abuse material. All of it's AI-generated, and the real challenge right now is, to your question, how do you do it? There are over 500,000 tools available online, most of them free, that allow anybody, whether it's my 80-year-old parents, my 8-year-old son, to create anything limited only by your imaginations. Which means there's a lot of great things, you know, AI for productivity, AI for health and science, but also in a very dangerous edge case, AI for very dangerous things. And right now, the absence of, simple regulations, it is the Wild West.
Ben, you are solving one of what I would consider to be the most relevant and important problems today. Tell us more about the story behind RealityDefender and kind of the moment you realized that this was a big enough problem to start a company around it.
So we started the company about 5 years ago. We had some support from some government grants, the AI Foundation and Microsoft. And we came out saying that the 2020 election was going to be the deepfake election. And we worked with Microsoft to launch what was then called the Microsoft Video Authenticator. A lot of press, and then there were no deepfakes. There were deepfakes on one hand because the buzzword wasn't there yet. So we said we were detecting AI avatars and virtual humans, but there were no AI avatars and virtual humans. And so we were very early. So to your question, when we realized it, we still hadn't realized it yet. Now we were certain of it, but it still hadn't happened yet.
Yeah.
And so what then happened over a few years, suddenly a company called OpenAI launched ChatGPT. And then the world caught up to us in a very, very big way. And where we are today is that whatever you see, whatever you hear, almost all of it has touched AI in some way. And the question is, how do you tell without being a computer science expert or PhD if something is indeed real or AI generated or manipulated?
I mean, I remember this. I don't know if you remember this story, but you guys actually pitched. I was at a venture firm at the time, and you guys pitched, and my partners were sort of like, this is probably 2021 maybe, or maybe
we had 190 people say that same thing. Like,
yeah,
what is this thing?
Sort of like, what? This isn't a problem.
Ben, go back. You should work at a bank. It's more stable. Which is not true. We had a lot of folks say, what is this? Where is the problem? We also had folks saying, why don't you pivot into NFT authentication? Remember that was the thing?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's back. I heard something about NFTs this morning.
No.
I don't think it's back.
Bitcoin's down like 25% just in the last couple of weeks. There's no NFTs.
But as a cyber nerd, my view has always been that fraudsters and hackers are the best product managers. So if there's any tool or widget or technique or social engineering playbook giving you a little bit extra edge, obviously you'll do it. Yeah. You're not competing for podcast points. You're competing just to commit a little more fraud.
So in that same vein, this is such a moving target, like new models, new techniques are getting shipped every single day. How do you stay proactive in that type of world that's only speeding up?
And so the question is like, is this a cat and mouse game? Is it a game of whack-a-mole? It absolutely is. It's also true of all of cybersecurity, all physical security as well. For us, we stay ahead in a few different ways. One of them is that we have our own red team that tends to break our models better, faster than anything out in the market. Now, new models are coming out. I wouldn't say they're trying anything particularly novel since the most recent diffusion models came out. And so for us, we developed different kind of internal offensive capabilities in the lab that try and break our models so we can constantly retune and retrain. Other side of it is we partner with a lot of the leading generative AI companies. So some of them, as we can name, are 11 Labs, Respeecher, Play AI. They want to be on the kind of right side of history. And so they give us early access to models, and our data teams work with them just to ensure if there's anything unique or interesting, that it is represented in our data set. We haven't seen anything that novel yet, but it is good to show that we're kind of partnering both on the generation side and the detection side.
So what do you see this, do you see this going long term as people build more models? Do you think, number one, they're eventually going to get good enough that your problem becomes too hard and you need a totally different approach, like maybe being built into a tool like 11 Labs somehow, or something, or there needs to be regulation, or, you know, do you think that the technical solutions will work for at least the foreseeable future?
So right now, all the generative AI platforms that are creating audio or video or images, they're trying to replicate the way the human eye might observe things. They're not trying to replicate how, I don't know, photonics, how physics actually work.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're confident that for at least the next 5-10 years, we're fine. Now, beyond that, we have an idea of how different models can become kind of a net new foundational model to solve for that. Because while fakeness is getting better and better, realness is not. And so by attacking both sides of the equation, we believe we can provide a kind of a superior solution. It's not one model, it's an ensemble of models, which we're constantly retuning, retraining, removing, re-adding. We push updates probably once a week right now. The goal is to do it a lot more often.
Yeah. Can you talk about some of the use cases that, like, obviously detection is an obvious use case, but like from an enterprise perspective, right? So I come like, why do I buy your product and what specific thing am I trying to solve? And like, who's the kind of like, I mean, I'm sure all the VCs ask us like, who's the buyer?
I mean,
and
you're a VC yourself.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, it used to be. And you're like, who does the, you know, who's the title of the person you sell to, you know, sort of stuff like that. Where do you live in an organization?
So the first step is that we are API first, so that any developer can go on our site, grab our API, we have a range of SDKs, 2 lines of code, and they can build real-time detection into whatever solution they have.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's one key item. We have about 700 independent companies, developers coming every month, building it, testing it. We give free access to anybody, 3 months free access to be specific. As far as large enterprises, the main use cases started off within call centers, so real-time audio scanning for call centers, for IVRs, for desk phones. And then it moved into real-time video. So we integrate right now into about 85% of leading collaboration and call center tools, obviously Zoom and Teams. And so whether you want to build with us directly or just go into the App Store on Zoom or Teams or Genesys, you could grab our app, click on it if you're an admin, and permit all your team members to use it. And what's key here is that we are what's called provenance-free and context-free, meaning we don't touch any personal data. We wouldn't know whether you're Rob or Ben. We wouldn't know whether you're AI or not.
I imagine part of this next wave is also going to be an educational problem. Like, how do you educate people that there's even a possibility that they're looking at a deep fake? I'm curious for the people listening who maybe aren't in this world, what are some of the common like gotchas that you should look for? What are the tricks? How can you stay ahead of this as an individual?
So if we were speaking a year ago, I'd give you all kinds of tips on symmetry and anti-aliasing and hourglassing of the face, kind of on a face swap. But the real scary truth right now is that there's nothing that you can do. Even the PhDs from top schools who work for our company, majority of our 50 people are PhD researchers and engineers. They can't tell the difference. And so I'll use the same analogy as antivirus software. You know, you get an email, Gmail or Outlook flags it as potential being a virus or ransomware or Trojan horse or something else. Are you reading the code? Probably not. You're trusting the antivirus to actually check for it. It's really the same thing in this space. Even the experts can't tell the difference. How can average people stand a chance? Well, we need platforms like RealityDefender to be baked into every single email client, communications tool, browser session, and beyond. And the good news is we are doing this right now, and we're hoping that regulations will catch up. We right now only really serve large enterprises. And corporates and developers. Consumers right now don't really have a tool here. We're hoping that'll change, and so working with telecoms and banks to extend our solution. But with most bleeding edge cybersecurity, it starts kind of at the high side with government, with enterprise, and then hopefully becomes a bit more consumerized.
When you think about, you know, the prospect of this technology eventually being regulated, and kind of the morality and the legality around that? Do you take a particular stance in whether or not people should be able to have the liberty of creating deepfakes?
So we're very much pro AI and pro AI acceleration. We're also pro knowing whether or not you're seeing AI or not. So we're not saying whether it's good or bad. We're not saying whether it's truthful or untruthful. We are saying that you should have the right to say, I do want to see AI or I don't want to see AI. The same way that on social media or streaming, you could flag different things. You could say, I don't want to see violence. I don't want to see nudity. Football games, I'm a big football fan, but they're a little violent. And so when my 5-year-old using his tablet with all of its parental controls, he's not going to see any of those. And when you upload a video onto, streaming or social media, it's checking for, violence, nudity, CSAM. It's checking for, I don't know, do you upload the latest Taylor Swift song? They're not doing that because it's from the kindness of their heart. It's because it's simple regulations. And so this next stage should be, is there AI or not? And letting consumers make their own determination. Same way when you get, a potential spam call, your phone is saying, hey, Rob, this might be spam. In the next few months, you'll get a ping that says, hey, this call may be AI. Maybe a robocall from the airlines. Last few weeks have been exciting with delays. Or it might be a fraudulent call or a voice agent, either trying to waste your time or trying to commit fraud. So the more that we can kind of evangelize this, the more that folks understand the problem. It's not just education. It's you have to scare people a little bit. You have to show them how scary it is with their own voice, with their own face. And that's what we do really every day, is we demonstrate how scary it is to our clients.
Yeah, I've been getting a bunch of calls, almost like one a day. It's always a different number, so it's hard to block. And it's a small business credit line call, and it's like so annoying. And
you've been selected.
Yeah, I never answer it, and it's always AI related, but it's a big annoyance. Like every day I have to delete a voicemail, which takes 30 seconds out of my day.
I'm sure you're on a list somewhere, and so you're just getting spammed left and right.
I turn off my voicemail, and if it's a number I don't recognize, I just don't pick it up, which makes it very inefficient. But
yeah, that's pretty interesting. So, this podcast is about AI companies in New York. You guys are based here, which is really interesting because we think of this as the applied AI capital of the world compared to San Francisco, where it feels like everybody's working on AGI and deep tech. But this is a pretty hardcore deep tech company as well. What's your experience been like hiring and building in New York? Like, first of all, why did you make the decision here? And then have you had trouble hiring here, or has it been awesome? Like, what do you think? What do you recommend to people?
So we started the company kind of at the middle of COVID. We could have started it anywhere. And the reason why we chose New York and not SF, I'm from California originally, I had every excuse to be in California, was we believed at the time that this is where all the clients are. And so if it's an option of being where the clients are or other things, I'd always pick the client side. What we realized was that given all the clients are, big banks with their own, quant teams, so researchers, there's a very captive audience of potential hiring talent here. And they tend to have real experience. They don't jump from company to company every, 6 to 12 months. I think San Francisco is phenomenal. I think it's also an incredibly challenging place to hire, given the propensity of people to jump from company to company to company. But also we're building something much more applied. It's not theoretical. We found it very important to have very intimate design partnerships with our clients. And so our first client was JP Morgan. You couldn't do that from San Francisco. You had to be here, a Uber ride or a subway ride away from your main stakeholders.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And it's part of what I like about New York is because it's got this culture where it's dense and you run it. Like I run into people that I've worked with or pitched like all the time, right? It's like just in a coffee shop, you walk in to get coffee and there's people in there having a meeting or at a dinner or just on the street. And it's really productive, and it helps you stay top of mind with people, particularly if you're out a lot and about.
And it helps you learn about problems that can be solved. You're not a bubble with only people who are saying, what if? Yeah. I lived in SF. I was with friends who were all doing what I was doing. And oftentimes it was a bit of an echo chamber. I can't tell you how many Uber for X ideas that I heard.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit about what did you do before Reality Defender? Like, what was your background, and like, how did you stumble on the need for this problem?
So this is really all I've ever done, and I've worked in kind of data science and cybersecurity. I've worked at Goldman Sachs, focused on cybersecurity commercialization and strategic investment. I've done some work for some government defensive groups. I'll leave it at that. And I worked at Google in grad school, kind of in a similar role, thinking about data science on top of different kind of data. And so for me, it's a continuation of what I've always done. It just happens there's a new venue for it, which is, this wide world of AI. Fraudsters will follow the technologies. Maybe it's AI today, maybe it's quantum tomorrow.
How far away do you think we are from the quantum wave actually hitting as a material risk?
I mean, every day it says a different, it's either a week away or a year away or 10 years away. I was chatting with Worley from StrangeWorks. I think you might know him in the quantum space. And their view, people smarter than me, their view is we're probably a year or two away.
Wow.
My excitement is there's a whole new generation of quantum secure cryptography, which will solve for a lot of the new issues that quantum will bring to security.
Talking about quantum today does kind of remind me of talking about AI in 2018. Like there was buzz around it, but it's just not quite there yet. Yeah. Do we want to get into the news for this week?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's do it. What article do you want to talk about first?
The big one on people's mind is the release of Gemini 3. Have you guys played around with it at all?
I have. I'm a Gemini user over most other things. We use Claude at the office, but I use Geminis for a lot of stuff because the number one thing I use these tools for is to create presentations because I hate that. And I don't care that they're kind of like a little bit janky, like they're close enough and they're fast, but you can give it a long prompt. And they can't create PowerPoints because it's a proprietary format. So none of the tools can really do that. There's probably some tool out there that's licensed and can, but like none of the Claude can't do it, and ChatGPT can't do it. And so, but Google will save it directly to Google Sheets after it creates it. Whereas Claude will give you some like HTML presentation thing that's annoying.
And you got to move it.
Yeah. So, so I use Gemini a lot and have played around with it. But I don't have like a lot of the people have, they go and they run a bunch of prompts and see, like, I just like ask it what it can do that's new,
I mean, I have small kids, 8 and 5, so they have some pretty bizarre ideas on what I can try. Sometimes I have to be a little more focused in, being my own moderation on what comes out. But it's a lot of fun, but also really scary of what it can do.
Yeah, I personally was a ChatGPT user before switching to my current role, and I've played around with Gemini a little bit. The one thing that I don't like about it is they don't have the functionality to like toggle on and off deep research within a chat.
So sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's fast. Is that the kind of challenge?
Yeah. And like that's really nice with ChatGPT is that you can kind of do it natively in one chat window. But anyway, I mean, the reception is generally pretty positive. It's exceeded almost every single performance metric out there. And the biggest piece of news that really resonated with me this week was around the fact that they did so using only their own TPUs. So they didn't use any of NVIDIA's GPUs in order to do that. Yeah,
CNBC this week had a couple days ago had Google will be the NVIDIA killer because now their TPUs are advanced enough. They're starting to get a lot of other usage from other companies. They're starting to, I don't know if they'll sell them like to AWS or Microsoft Azure or anything like that. And they'll probably stay on Google Cloud for the near term, but maybe I'm wrong. But it's, I don't think anybody's going to kill NVIDIA. Like there's so much demand for AI compute. Like we're a long way from even, there needs to be a lot of increase in supply to get there.
Yeah, I don't think anyone will kill NVIDIA, but like it is a good signal that like there are other players out there that can now be self-sustaining. I think Google is probably the biggest one to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah. And it's probably great for NVIDIA. Like real competition really advances innovation. For us, our clients will deploy us on like anything. So we've had to be a little bit flexible. We are default biased toward NVIDIA though.
Yeah. Well, of course, they've been the market leader for a long time. Which speaking of, like, one of our articles this week was NVIDIA came out and like with their earnings 2 days ago, a day ago, whatever, when we're recording
Which seemed pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, they beat expectations again. And part of my thing was like, how do you beat expectations when a company has consistently beat expectations? Like at some point you need to raise your expectations, right? So
I've heard it's like expectations of the expectations. Yeah. It kind of gets really, I don't know.
Very meta.
Very meta.
But I think it's interesting because it ties back into this idea that we've talked about several times on here about the AI bubble.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of pieces to that. I wrote a piece 2 weeks ago on the idea that it's hard to talk about an AI bubble because AI is a very broad thing. Yeah. And do you mean data centers? Do you mean chips? Do you mean power and utility companies?
Robots
do you mean there's parts of those are bubbly and parts of those are less bubbly. But I'm interested related to the bubble conversation. What do you see in terms of like, do you think the demand for AI services you see it outstrips supply, or they're evenly matched, or it's where you would expect for a startup, or it's too much, or like what's your view on
I mean,
your
honestly,
segment
on
of
the
market?
cybersecurity side, we need more compute. Like, there's just not enough compute. Like, we've calculated out if we scan every single phone call, every single video conferencing, there's just not enough compute in the data centers. Even if you think beyond, cloud to edge to, I don't know, on device as well. So for us, I'm sure there's bubbles in some places. I think that here we still have a lot of room to go.
Yeah. Will Reality Defender run at the edge at some point? Do you think, like, will you guys be able to run on a microcontroller and a, or NPU in some kind of small device?
Right now, we have quantized our models. So we've had to compress them to run in lower compute environments. And the future is compute wherever the compute is.
Interesting.
When I look at like the flow of cash within certain players within this ecosystem, it does start to get a little bit bubbly when, I've mentioned this multiple times, but to beat a dead horse here, like NVIDIA has invested $100 billion into OpenAI so that OpenAI can go back and give them more money.
Right. But it's not always money. It's investing in compute or I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes it's a little bit more of a favorable business arrangement. But I do think, if the long lead time for these GPUs is around like 12 months, then this is such a lagging indicator that is it even indicative of where we are right now? Like, yes, it beat expectations, but it, to your point, beat expectations from the demand that we had a year ago. So what does that say about the state of the market?
Yeah, I think AI demand is if people are worried about the bubble because they think the demand's not there or the ROI is not there, I think they're wrong. I think you'll see that. If they're worried that the valuations are getting out of whack, like that could happen in any market at any time, right? Just where people are.
The interesting part is the financing of it. If something has a year lifetime, but you're financing it on like a 4 or 5 year depreciation schedule, someone's having some challenges. Yeah. It's great for the companies that are financing it. Might be a challenge for the lenders.
Yeah. So I want to talk about, we don't really do research papers here, but there's a really interesting one that came out that's cybersecurity related, which is the title is Adversarial Poetry as a Universal Single Turn Jailbreak Mechanism in Large Language Models. So basically, if you make the model craft a poem, you can put it in a state where it'll tell you something it's not supposed to tell you.
Because of the poem?
Yeah.
Because of any poem or a specific poem?
Well, it says in here 62% for handcrafted poems and 43% for meta prompt conversation. I don't know what that means, but yeah. But anyway, it gets to your point about where this is going, which is people are getting more creative. You have hackers now who are like, oh, the model won't disclose this information. What if we ask it to write a poem and the poem is supposed to do, it's like,
I mean, we have a chat on our website and we found out that somebody was communicating it using meme images. And we're like, well, one, why is it happening? And then two, wow, they're actually communicating. Yeah. The bot is responding to the meme, which is bizarre. So anyhow, clearly a lot of things going on under the hood there.
Yeah. What's the most interesting deepfake or related thing that you've seen happen? Like, is there one story that you always tell when you speak publicly where you're like, man, these people did the strangest thing to try to hack somebody? Or
that's interesting. I mean, for us, it's the ones that are the most apparent. Like we try and stay away from like the really scary ones, which we don't really want to talk about publicly. Yeah. But the ones that move the stock market, those are the ones that I am fascinated with because you could release them in such a way that they just go viral quickly. And there was one that looked like an explosion at the Pentagon that led to a $100 billion flash crash of the market. And the fact that no one stopped it. Yeah. We could have if platforms were required to scan for it. Just shows how quickly things can affect. Beyond that, deepfake audio being injected into Ukrainian walkie-talkie traffic, things like that. I mean, wherever there is a real-time communication, there's nothing stopping average people with average technology to try to see how they could move the market or affect geopolitics.
And as the world gets more automated, the viral impact across all kinds of groups could happen in scale and toggle faster, right, from a deepfake or whatever. So
or a voice agent. Yeah, permission of voice agent. We're now working with voice agent companies that want to make sure they're not talking to another voice agent. And if you ever heard AI talking to AI, it quickly devolves. But also that's a lot of expensive waste when you should have a data-to-data connection.
Yeah.
How are you beginning to quantify something like this? Like, how do you even begin to know how prevalent of a problem it is if like no human can detect it?
I mean, a few years ago, we couldn't prove that it was a problem. We knew it was theoretically possible, but only when we started scanning a lot of data on behalf of our clients. And we can't see their data. So then they have to let us know what they're finding with our solution. But I think the most recent data is like 1 out of every 100 calls has some level of AI. Maybe a robocall, maybe an agentic voice, maybe a deepfake. Video's still a little bit behind the scenes because the compute requirement is still a little bit too high. But to your point about evolution of GPUs, this time next year, real-time video deepfakes will be just as prevalent as audio. So turning on the news is going to have a whole different experience. Like, is this even real?
What do you have any suggestions for? I mean, you mentioned something a little bit earlier in the podcast about just maybe like that implied like maybe we need just to introduce more friction in the process of trust and some of this stuff. Like, what's the advice that you give coworkers, friends, kids about like should you literally just, are we going to have to change the way we view this stuff as a society and just be like,
there's no silver bullet. RealityDefender deepfake detection is not the be all end all. It's a bit of a perimeter strategy. You need multiple perimeters to protect yourself. So even with my kids, we just got our 8-year-old a watch. It's a very locked down watch. It's not an Apple Watch. He can't make calls to only, I don't know, my wife and I and our parents. And so what we've discussed with him is that if you ever hear me, just ask me some question. AI can fake my voice, my face, but it can't access what I know. So ask it about dinner last night. You could say have a code word. That gets kind of hard in a heat of the moment, but just have a conversation. It might sound like me, but it won't know what I know. Unless I publish it online or in a podcast, then it's a different story.
Or you wear one of those pins people are developing that records everything you do all day. And that's kind of scares me. There's I do think you're going to see people want to keep some humanness in as the world becomes more this way. And I think you're going to see, you've seen it in a lot of things, right? You've seen it with the return of people coming back to paper books. You've seen it with the return. We went through a phase where people didn't wear watches, right? Because you were like, oh, my time's on my cell phone. And we just wore watches to tell time. And now they've come back as a status symbol or fashion.
I tried to go to digital books and my kid said, no, can we get some of those books like you used to have? Like, wow, I'm really old.
Like you used to have.
And printed, those snap cameras that automatically print, the Polaroids have come back. Like, my
But on the flip side, we are making AI generated custom books with our kids in the book, which is super cool. They never had that when I was little. It's fun that they have a bunch of books where there's somehow a character in it.
That's pretty awesome.
It does raise a lot of questions for me about like, how do you be a parent in this day and age?
It's a technology balance.
Exactly.
And I don't think we figured it out ourselves, but every day there's more technology.
So I think one final thing that we want to talk about today is Trump made an executive order on AI to sort of take a lot of the power away from the states and sort of have it centralized. And his quote here that Anna put in here for us was, you can't go through 50 states. You have to get one approval. 50 is a disaster because you'll have one woke state and you'll have to do all woke. You'll be
a direct quote.
I know.
I didn't put it in there because it was eloquent.
To me, wokeness is the wrong reason to do this or whatever. It's also funny because this is a very sort of anti-conservative, right-leaning strategy. Like typically, right-leaning people are federalists or libertarians and believe the states should have the rights and you should run a lot of experiments and that's good for the economy. What's your take? Have you guys looked at these executive orders and do you have any opinions on?
I can't speak to the politics, but I can say that any regulations on anything digital, they just don't work on a state-by-state level. We have rules around different levels of non-consensual AI pornography at state level. They just don't work because the internet doesn't stop at the edges of the state, and so we end up spending a lot of time with state officials, but even more time with folks in DC. And what's really fascinating is that what we're doing is truly bipartisan. Last year, I gave testimony in the Senate to Senate Judiciary Committee. We had Senator Hawley, Senator Blumenthal, who tend to be opposite on a lot of things. And this one, they were arm in arm. They allowed us to do a live deepfake of them. In this area, it's a universal feeling that we need something now. It's just taking a little bit longer than we would have hoped.
Any thoughts on that, Anna? On the
I think usually when you have regulatory inconsistency across jurisdictions, it does make it more difficult for people not only to develop technologies around, but also interpret.
Right.
I'm very pro a federal mandate. Actually, Trump and I are on the same page on this one for once.
That was not a deep fake. She actually said that. No. Cool. And then actually one more article we have today, and this will be interesting to see if this applies to Reality Defender. Jan LeCun is leaving Meta, and it's because he does not believe in the future of LLMs, and he wants to create what are called world models, which are a little more grounded in physics and how the world works and everything else. Is this going to be a problem is this going to help deepfakes or not? Because you mentioned that we're already at a point where, or you mentioned something earlier in the podcast that they don't understand the physics of maybe how people move or how things are put together. And so you think world models are going to make it harder?
I think it's going to actually create more opportunities for the defenders than for the attackers. Because for us, the more compute we have, the more things we can do to identify different kinds of features we can extract from what we're seeing or what we're hearing. But he's brilliant. He's going to need a lot of compute. I know that.
Yeah. It'll be interesting.
Not the only one. Yeah. Do you want to wrap it up? So Ben, typically we wrap up these podcasts with a New York specific question. So it'll be like your favorite New York X. And this week is place you are most likely to stop before you go home when it's past midnight after a fun evening.
Oh my goodness.
So if you need a minute, I have.
Yeah. Well, this would have been interesting. I wish Ryan was here this time, because what we lose when Ryan's not here is Ryan gives very sophisticated answers to these. I feel like.
Is he up past midnight a lot?
No. Just to all our New York. He's just like a deep thinker, and he has like a reverence for New York that I think I don't necessarily have. I don't know if Anna has it, but like if you ask like, what do you love about New York, right? I always give a stupid answer like, there's pizza places every block or whatever. And Ryan's always like, well, the history of the things that have happened here and how they tie to human. And I'm always like, wow.
Much more deeply thoughtful.
I always wish I'd given Ryan's answer. And he's not here for this one, so it'd be interesting to see what he would have said.
We have not made fun of Ryan at all this entire podcast.
Yeah, no. Well, we got started a little bit late because
we could make a deepfake of him if you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do
Put
that.
him right here. Hey, Ryan.
Yeah.
Ghost of Ryan.
I'll give my answer. So it depends. If I'm going out in West Village or Soho and I'm walking back because I live in Chelsea, it's normally I'm normally pretty, and it's late at night. Like I'm normally fine. I normally just walk back.
Right.
For some reason, if I'm coming from Upper East Side, Upper West Side, Midtown or whatever, and I'm walking back to Chelsea, man, that Two Brothers Pizza at 25th and I guess 6th.
I know that one.
Yeah. It's like it's always open, and then there's a crowd
the
like after midnight.
Like
and it's like they got both sides open because they're on the corner. So it's I just and then I can get a slice of pizza. I walk a few more blocks. It's like perfect timing to eat the slice. It's my kryptonite, man. It's like how
many pieces do you got?
Usually just one, so I am usually okay. And plus I'm if I'm walking from 45th Street, it's probably burn off a slice of pizza. So
not too bad.
Right.
My first apartment was on 25th and 6th, so I am deeply familiar with that pizza place. The bad part though is when you don't have a block to walk it off. Like when you're just shuffling back and forth between your apartment and the pizza place, it's bad news. So I'm a proud Upper West Side resident. Tiki Chick on 85th in Amsterdam. Shout out to them. They have the best hot honey chicken sandwich you will ever have, and you can get it for like $5 any time of night.
That doesn't sound like something that's going to help you sleep well if you eat that after midnight.
Well, pizza won't either.
No.
Wow. I mean, I'm a big fan of Mexican food. I'm from California, and it's sometimes hard to find it in New York, especially after midnight. There is a bodega/restaurant called Benvenuto in Tribeca that makes a wrap that's kind of burrito-ish. And, they have every salad ingredients. I end up, I don't know, making kind of like a Frankenstein version of what I want with different kinds of tomatoes and onions and everything else. And I could taste it right now. Now, the challenge is they always want to cut it in half. It's always a race saying, please don't cut it. They'll heat it up.
Yeah.
And then I don't want it cut because then it's a mess.
Yeah, you got to say it right at the right time.
Yeah, multiple times. Yeah.
It's dangerous that I know about that. I'm definitely going to be using that one.
The no
late
cut?
Night. Oh, no. Oh, just that place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Ben, if people want to learn more about Reality Defender, what's the best way?
If they're a developer, go to realitydefender.com/API. If they email us or comment on our chatbot, we'll give them additional credits to scan. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to me. LinkedIn, email, I'm ben@realitydefender.com.
Ben, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah.
I know you're a busy person, so we really appreciate it.
Well, that chicken sandwich, pizza's still good, but that sounds pretty wild.
It was worth it to do the podcast for that tip.
Yeah, we should have started with that.
Yeah.
For those of you listening, send us your swag. We will wear it on the show. I know I'm not representing. Rob's representing Neurometrics today, though.
Well, this is my own company, though.
Yeah,
so
I
of course
know.
I'm
So it's
represent it.
a little bit
And a
biased.
hat.
Yeah, and the Yankees hat. And also, I will say our Christmas show, our holiday show at the end of the year is going to feature a handful of startups and companies. Reach out to us if you want to be featured on that show, and we'll start taking applications in the next couple of weeks. And then subscribe, like us, all the other stuff that you're supposed to do. Listen to our other shows, and go check out Reality Defender. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, guys.